children and food. So I was listening, I guess what prompted this, I've been thinking about this for a while though, but what prompted it was I was listening to, I think an advertisement came on about the lady was basically trying to figure out what she was going to cook dinner, and she was trying to she was tired of having to cook meals that look like dinosaurs or whatever. Basically under the idea that in order to get kids to eat, you have to kind of make the food look fun and bribe them and trick them into eating, right? I don't think that is necessary. Now, I could be completely wrong because, again, I don't have children, but this is just what's coming up, and I'm going to share it. Everybody else can share their opinions. Why can't I share my opinion? And just because it's out of the norm and just because it's not a typical opinion doesn't mean that I don't have the space and opportunity and right to share it. So I truly and honestly think that when kids don't want to eat, or when they don't like certain foods, or when they're picky eaters, or when they are whatever, we should honor that. We should lean into that, because children are in tune with their most natural state. They're blank slates. They come here completely in tune with source, completely in tune with light and what it is that they are here to do and be. And we fuck it all up, for lack of a better term, by trying to mold them and shape them into what they need to be for the current state of the earth that we've fucked up already, and we're trying to fuck them up to make them in alignment with something that's already fucked up, when they came here already fine, perfect, the way that they should be. And so if they're rebelling against a certain food or not wanting to eat, they're honoring what their body is telling them. A lot of times when our body is sick, it will tell us not to eat, so that energy that would normally be put into digesting food can go to healing us. Our body naturally heals itself. Our body naturally does what it is supposed to do. But because we go against that natural instinct that it already has, this is why we get sick. This is why all of these other issues come about. So I honestly think that when kids, like I said already, when they have aversions to certain food, or when they don't want to eat, or when they're picky, they only want to eat a little bit, that's fine. They're listening to their body. Don't let these doctors, your child is going to be malnutrition if they don't eat this amount of food. This is the normal amount of food. According to who and according to what? Where are they getting that information from as far as normalcy? They're getting it from how we've changed everything, how the current state of the world is, basically. And is that beneficial to anybody? Let's look at the struggles that adults have nowadays, because we're trying to mold children into a standard that adults are currently being held to, right? That's the milestones. That's what the milestones are made up of. They're not made up of your body's natural inclinations, because that's going to be different for everybody. So they've mainstreamed it and streamlined it into something that doesn't fit everybody. That's one. This one-size-fits-all idea of what milestones are and where children should be at certain ages and all these different kind of things. Now, in certain cases, that is true, but I still think it's dangerous, because a lot of times parents, doctors or whoever will tell parents, your kid hasn't reached this milestone, so they're slow. You should get services for them. They might have a disability. They might have autism and all these different kind of things. It just might be that child is just not ready at this particular time. And if you continue to work with them and continue to talk to them and continue to hold space for them, they will eventually speak, or they will eventually reach that milestone. But because doctors tell us, they're never gonna whatever, or they're never gonna do this, or they're not doing it yet, so this is a problem, this is something that we should be looking at, I think it's problematic. I think it causes more problems than anything else. And because I work with kids and I see like how these things play out, and I see like where all of this, what it all turns into, I just honestly think we should just be letting kids tell us how they feel and honoring what it is that they say. Now, if they say they're not hungry, then they're not hungry. And if they just so happen to be hungry later on in the day, then we need to be flexible enough to feed them and to give them whatever. And I honestly think that we should be introducing plant-based diets to our children. And if they have an aversion to that, then we know that, their right diet might be something else. But I honestly think plant-based is where it should all start. Just to make things easier when they get older, because if I ever have children, I don't want them to struggle the way that I've struggled with getting on the right path and having the right diet, and like it just brings so many unnecessary problems that wouldn't have been present if my parents had just honored what it was that I honored, the way that I wanted to eat, and honored my diet instead of forcing me to do certain things and eat certain things and be certain ways. And so and then so I think I was sharing this opinion with somebody, and they were like giving me like, oh, but my child did this and my child did that, and whatever, and they didn't want to latch on to their mother and all these things. I honestly think, and again, this is another unpopular opinion, and people they could be offended all they want. I don't care. This is how I think. This is what I think. That happens, like, for example, when a child doesn't want to latch, I honestly think that that's a product of having a child with somebody you had no business having the child with. That energy is going to be in them. You're naturally going to feel a certain way towards this child because you feel a certain way towards their parent. Like, for example, if you're a woman and you're having issues with your baby's father, and you realize probably shouldn't have had, like, after you're pregnant, you realize I probably shouldn't be having this child with this person. They're not a good partner. They're not whatever. You're gonna project subconsciously, not even purposely, you won't even realize you're doing it, onto that child. All of that energy, as you're growing that child in your womb, is going to go into that child. And they're going to be born with all of that. And so this is why it's so important once again, to make sure that we are having children with people who we are meant to be having children with. Or make sure that we're meant to be having children in the first place. Because a lot of people out here don't need to be having kids. They don't want them. But they have them because the other person wanted it, or because they're against abortion, or because of what other people are going to think, or whatever else. And all of those are wrong reasons. All of those are incorrect reasons for why you should want to have a child. And another thing that's coming up when it comes to the energy that goes into the child when you're having it, now that thought is gone, but hopefully it comes back. What was I thinking about? Oh, like, for example, let's say that you are a woman and you absolutely hate your baby's father, and you end up having a son, and the son looks exactly like him, and he cheated on you, and he did all of this foul shit to you, and y'all aren't together, and now you're raising the son as a single mother. All of that resentment, all that anger you have towards his father, you're naturally going to project it onto the child, especially if the child looks like his father and acts like his father. It's just going to naturally... Why are we putting ourselves in these positions and putting our children in these positions? It does not make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. First off, we should be like a little bit more mindful beforehand about who we're laying down with. Okay, so let's say that we made a mistake or whatever. We realized, I honestly will put the child up for adoption. or I would have aborted the child if I realized, like, I'm already pregnant and shit is not going the right way with the baby's father, because I know how destructive it's going to be when this child grows up. And if I know for sure that I am not going to be able to get over, like, I go to therapy, something to prevent, like, giving the child up for adoption and having an abortion are extreme measures for wanting to prevent yourself from projecting certain energies. But that's how serious it is, at least to me. That's how serious it is. You don't want to fuck up another person's life because of one mistake that you made in regards to who you chose as a partner. We're all making that mistake, and it's causing permanent damage to people. Not only to you, but to your offspring, and then they're gonna pass that on to other people, and it just causes a ripple effect. And so that's why I'm being so dramatic with the whole, like, you should have an abortion or you should put that child up for adoption. Honestly, if you don't think that you can get over the fact, whatever the parent did to you, whatever the other parent did, if you can't get over it, you really should not be raising that child. And so, like, I don't, and again, maybe it's not my place to talk about because I don't have kids, but I don't believe in that, because I can still have a perspective. I can still look at other people's lives and other people's experiences and come up with my opinions and my conclusions based off of that. I don't have to have kids to have a clear perspective on anything. I honestly think when you have kids with the wrong person, there are repercussions that come off of that. That child is going to be a demon in some form or another. They're going to have energy that's dysfunctional. Either that's going to come out as, like, autism or disability, or it's going to come out as mental issues, or it's going to come out as like physical issues where the child is always sick. It's going to come out in some kind of way. And not only is the child impacted, you're impacted. The other parent is impacted. Everybody else that's involved is impacted. Everybody else that comes into contact with you and the child and the parent is all impacted. All based off of one simple ill decision that you made. We just have to be, like, more mindful of, like, how serious certain things are. Laying down with somebody is a serious matter. It really is. And the way that we have just minimized it and made it seem like it's just, oh, well, it's just an orgasm, it's just a nut, it's just something to do because I'm bored. It's just to fill this void. It's not just for any of that stuff. There's so much more that comes into it that's at play. There's so many more consequences, good and bad, to laying down with somebody. And just to think, like, all the people that I've, been with or whatever, that I've laid with, it's almost disgusting in a way. It really is. It's almost disgusting. It is disgusting. Not almost, it is. And I'm just grateful that, other than me losing my mind and, like, having all of these mental things that I've had to overcome, other than that, there weren't really any real repercussions that really impacted a lot of different people based off of my recklessness when it came to my love life and who I choose to lay down with. I'm just glad that it kind of just really impacted me and maybe the other person. I'm glad that no kids came from that. Yeah, because I honestly think, like, me almost losing my mind, actually losing my mind, I really honestly think mental issues like schizophrenia and all these different kind of things come from having multiple sex partners. and being with all these different people, all these different energies in you. I think that that's where it comes from. And those are the consequences that people aren't really talking about and like really shedding light on. People are not making those connections. It really does make you crazy. Because when you sleep with somebody, you're like inheriting their DNA, like the whole soul ties thing, right? People like to highlight the negative effects of soul ties. Like, you lay down with somebody and you're absorbing their negative energy and their toxicity. Yeah, you are, but you're also absorbing their hopes, their dreams, their ambitions, their achievements, all of the good things too, not just the bad things. It's not just cut off, oh, well, I'm laying down with this person, so I'm only... No. If you're absorbing the bad, you're absorbing the good with it. There's no, like, filter. All of it is being absorbed. So if this person, for example, wants to join the army, don't be surprised that if after you start sleeping with them, you want to join the army too. That's just an example or whatever, but anything. So like all these people that, are confused about what they want to do in their life, and they're, it's because you're being exposed to all these different people's energies and what they want to do with their life. And this is why the Bible says that we should wait for our husband. We should wait for our wife. We should wait to have sex with that person who we are married to, because the Bible, God understands what sex really does. It naturally aligns you with that other person. You're absorbing everything that they have inside of them, and vice versa. And so if you're doing that with multiple people, you're going to be confused. It's going to cause confusion, because everybody has a different path that they're supposed to be on. Everybody has a different thing that they want to do. And so you go over here, you sleep with this one, you sleep with that one, you sleep with... It's going to be very, very hard to stay focused. It's going to be very, very hard to pinpoint specifically what it is that you want to do with your life. Because you got all this influence from all these different people that you've laid with. And that's essentially what a soul tie is. And so just being understanding of that, and it has its pros and cons. The cons I just talked about, it kind of causes mental issues. It causes confusion. It causes a lot of like stress. It causes a lot of like doubt. A lot of like all over the placeness, for lack of a better way of saying it. But then on the positive side, it causes a lot of ambition. It causes a lot of like, it opens up your mind to multiple possibilities, because you've been with multiple different people, so you've seen multiple different ways that things could go. You've seen multiple different perspectives. All of that is now inside of you because you laid with that person. So it's naturally all inside of you. You're more open-minded. You're more open to opportunities. So more things will flow into your life. So that's a positive aspect of sleeping around and having a lot of different sex partners. So it all has pros and cons. Everything has pros and cons. But people just want to talk about the negative effects of it. And then when they talk about the negative effects of it, they don't even talk about it in the right kind of way. Yes, it does keep you bound to that person. But if you're having sex with multiple people, it keeps you bound to multiple people. And so that's why you're depressed. And that's why you're feeling like you don't know what you want to do, and you don't feel like you have a purpose and whatever. Because what that other person had inside of them is in conflict with what you have inside of you, because that was not your person, because you guys didn't stay together. It ended up not going right. So all of that is inside your body now. All of that is taking up space within you. The failure of laying with somebody and connecting with somebody, and then having to walk away from them, and then having to be separate from them after you united. Because whenever you lay with somebody, that's a union. It's a contract. It's a covenant. You married them, essentially. And so When you walk away, you're divorcing. So how many divorces have you actually had? How many spiritual divorces have you actually had? As much as we want to act like, you know, it's casual and it is what it is and whatever, it really is not. It's so deep. It's so deep, and I wish somebody would have told me that. You know, not to like, because now I still made it to where I needed to be. It just took a lot longer and it was a lot harder, and it was a lot more lessons involved. And I think if somebody had told me in the way that I just told you guys, then it would have prevented me from doing it. So I also think that like a well-rounded perspective of what it really does is needed, especially for rebellious spirited children, especially for the upcoming generations. They're going to need a well-rounded explanation for why they shouldn't do things. It's because they're thinkers. It's because they're smart. They're not just robots. They're not just these factory workers who we just say, this is what you need to do, and that's it. And they just follow along with what everybody says. That's not the type of children that we're raising. That's not the type of children that are vibing on the planet now. That's not what the next generation is about. They are thinkers. They are learners. They want to know why. And somebody's going to have to give them an explanation. And I think a part of my purpose maybe might be to figure out a way in which that can take place, and we can really give the next generation the support it needs to really develop and really flourish and really like be better than we were and we will ever be. And that's the purpose of the next generation. It's supposed to be better, and they want to be. I feel it. I have that feeling inside of me. I have that desire inside of me to be better and to help others be better. And yeah, so hopefully, you know, I know all of this is for a reason. The reason that I took the path that I did is all for a reason, and it's all going to come together at the end, and it's all going to be like, wow, that's why I went through specifically what I went through. That's why I decided to do it that way and not another way. That's why somebody didn't show up in my life and tell me exactly what I needed to stop me from doing that particular thing, because I needed to do that particular thing. That's why they didn't show up, and that's why they showed up now. That's why I'm here now with these different wisdoms and enlightenments to be able to share with myself and others. And so it's all for a purpose. So I'm not going to dwell on who did what and who said what and who didn't say what and who didn't teach me what. I'm not going to do any of that. Because like I said, it's all for a reason. It's also that I could be here in this present moment and share what I'm sharing. And so for that, I'm grateful. And for all the people that married me and shared and shared themselves with me in such an intimate way, I'm grateful for them too. Even if they can't, I have all of their dreams inside of me, and I'm gonna bring them to actuality. I'm gonna realize them. I'm gonna actualize them. Every single one of their dreams is gonna come true through me. Even if they don't get a chance to do it. And with that, guys, you see what long drives do? I need to take them more often. I'm really thinking about, like I said in the last video, getting a car. Yeah, I kind of like, what is this, a Hyundai Santa Fe? I think this is a 2022 or 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe. I kind of like it. It's a nice little SUV, but it doesn't feel too big. It feels like a car, but it has a lot of space in it, and it's pretty comfortable. I like the features on it. I just wish it had a sunroof, but yeah, I like that it's push to start. So yeah, these are all the things that come out during a road trip. But yeah, until next time, be well.